Hello and welcome to FanCookingTastic. Today we're going to be cooking outside like a caveman. For today's episode of FanCookingTastic, you're going to need a rack of pork ribs, 1 zucchini, 1 sweet Vidalia onion, some mushrooms, peppers. Pick some colors so it looks good too. We'll need a splash of olive oil and a splash of lime juice. You can use any bread that you've got, but we're going to use what we have kicking around, some sourdough and some pumpernickel. And then for the side of bread, your favorite dips. Today we're going to be using spinach dip and hummus. We're also going to be diving into the spice cupboard today. Hello and welcome to the show. Another episode of FanCookingTastic. Today we're going to be making something that's really tasty as always, simple to make, and you'll be able to do it no problem. To begin with, we need to go and get some spices from our handy dandy spicy cupboard. Hello, Spice Cam. Today we're going to use a little bit of basil leaves. We're going to need a little bit of chili powder. Let's see, what else should we add? We're doing pork. A little bit of curry powder always helps. What else? What else is nice on ribs? That's pretty much it. Nothing too much. We're making a bit of a dry rub. Over here, we'll get a little bit of barbecue spices. There we go. All right. Right, so we have our little spice accoutrement here. We got some grilling spice, some chili powder, some basil leaves, and some curry powder. And we got to go get our table twins. I forgot to get them, so I'll have to run off camera here. We're going to need some of our table twins here. What we're going to do first, since we're doing a barbecued meal, we need to take our pork right here, pork ribs, and dry rub them. This is a full rack of ribs, and we cut them in half. We freeze them in the bag. Sometimes we'll just cook the one. Today we're going to cook both because I'm going to show you a technique that is very useful for cooking ribs. Name of the game: slow and low. So first we're going to make our little bit of a dry rub here. So we're going to put in a little shake of basil leaves. Nothing too much. They're pretty strong. And a bit of chili powder. That's always nice to throw in there. These are arbitrary amounts. Whoa, that's a lot, but that's okay. And to sweeten it up a little bit of, well, a lot of curry powder. It sort of poofed out into the bowl, didn't it? And then some shaking of that spice there, the grilling spice. A few twists of the salt shaker. And pepper. And that's about it. You can add anything else you want too. Experiment. The name of the game. Oh, I know what we need. Since it is pork, maybe a little bit of rosemary. You got fresh rosemary here from the garden. 2020 we harvested this. We dry it. Our kitchen looks a bit like a witch's lab in the late fall when we dry all these herbs out. So we take a little bit of this rosemary and just a little bit, he says. Because it's strong too. Sort of put that into your, this gadget, right? The mortar and pestle. This has got to be the handiest kitchen tool ever in our kitchen. It's this one here is marble, comes with the grinding wand, if you want to call it that, and it does a fantastic job of grinding up your dry rub ingredients to put on these ribs. And so just crush them up, grind it up, mix it all around. That's going to make a nice grit to somewhat open up and break down that rosemary. So we've got all our ingredients in there. Just mix it around. Pretend you're a laboratory professor or some mad scientist in the kitchen. And you know, sometimes that's what it's like when it's cooking. Cooking is kind of like being a laboratory professor. It's kind of like cooking, being a mad scientist, really, because we get to experiment with all these different herbs and spices, which would have been added to the meat in years ago for not just for simple enhancement and flavoring, but because the meat itself was rather bland. And so they added many different herbs and spices to that. So to dry rub this, what we're going to do first, we're going to be cooking these ribs fat side down, bone side down. So we're not going to bother putting dry rub on the side we're putting down on the barbecue. But what we will do is we'll shake a bit of this onto the ribs. I'll put it over this side too. And then, even though you got a little bit left in there, just rub it all over the meat. You might want to add a bit more too. You're rubbing it into the meat, so it'll get a little pasty because it's wet. So you're going to add a bit more here. Just rub it all over the ribs. Coat the meat nicely. And don't worry about putting a little too much. It's going to cook off as it sits in the barbecue. A little bit over here. There we are. Okay, and we're just going to rub that all over. Getting it caked onto my fingers too, so it's a little tricky. That's why I just have to keep adding a little bit of the stuff while it's still dry. Just rub it, and that's good enough. You don't want to overpower. You can keep the rest. Actually, I will, as a little herb while I get this stuff off of my fingers, which is almost impossibly difficult. So we're going to save our extra dry rub for later, and we're going to better put these back in. Hello, Spice Cam. Nice to see you again. And we better put these back. Oh, and they had better be in alphabetical order too. Otherwise, I'll be cursing and I'll have to phone my wife eventually one day and ask her where stuff is. I don't think she'd appreciate that one at work. Okay, so we're going to set our meat aside. So we've got vegetables to make. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cutting up all of our vegetables into the bowl. And we are going to be making that for the purpose of grilling on, we're going to be doing that for the purpose of grilling on the barbecue. There's no order that this needs to be done in because we are going to be making a mishmash. So first, better get our handy dandy green bin. So we'll get our handy dandy green bin here. And get our peppers ready. I've chosen 2 different colored peppers today because it'll look nice in the dish. You pick whatever you want though. Pick whatever colors you like. And you know, I just peeled this, but we're going to make them chunky. Big chunks. Okay, big chunks. Big chunks. Hello, ceiling cam. Big chunks. So when you're cutting it, don't make it small. Reason is this is going to basically bake in the barbecue. See, I'm cutting it in half again. That's it. Start cutting squares. So this is going to become quite soft and hopefully soft enough that we can put it on our bread like a topping, which is actually kind of nice, kind of delicious, especially served cold. You can serve it hot if you wish, but it's actually not so bad when it's served a bit cool. So this is kind of nice because you can just do your prep work inside ahead of time. And if you've got company who come in over or whatnot, definitely do this ahead of time. And then it's the kind of thing you just put on the grill and you sort of forget about it. Not too much. You might burn it, of course. So there's those peppers. Cut in half. Just going for like little squares here. Nothing too fine. Not like we would have cut for the pizza. If you've seen that episode, we cut it quite small. And ta-da! There, that's the extent of my magic cutting skills. What else? Let's get an onion and some mushrooms. No sounds from the peanut gallery today. Cut your mushrooms nice and big. That way those people that don't like them can be easily picked out. Not everybody likes mushrooms. And that's okay. You don't have to put mushrooms in. Put whatever vegetables you want in there. Just not too hard. Like I wouldn't do carrots, for example. What we got here is a sweet Vidalia onion. I think I can cut this without the glasses on, but we'll see. If I start weeping, you'll know why. Okay, I think that's all good. Look at this little skin peeling back the layers of the onion. Okay, so same thing here. Chop them up in half and then big. Just 3 cuts, because what you'll have to do, this is about the hardest part of the job, is just separate all these chunks of onion. So far so good. No weeping onion folk over here. Okay, so all these different chunks that we want to get out. This too will get quite soft. Oh, I know, there's one ingredient that I didn't mention, and it's really nice. We'll have to carve some up, and that's fresh garlic. Fresh garlic in here. This is almost like a homemade Mediterranean dish, and it's quite refreshing. So before we go further, let me hop over here for some garlic. It looks like we're digging in to a new clove here. Clove. I don't know. Anybody know the official word for the entire thing of garlic? Head of garlic, maybe? I know each of these is called a clove, I believe. But if there's an official name, I seem to remember my grandmother telling me that this was a querm or something like that, and I tended not to question grandma, because she's been around. She was around a lot longer than me, so I think she probably knew a few things or two. Or as some old folks get, they just make up these fantastic stories, and boy, oh boy, do they ever sound good. However, in any case, we've taken apart a thing of garlic, and we're going to be loosely chopping that up once I get rid of all the waste down here. So rather than chop it up really tiny, because it'll get lost when you're spinning all this stuff around in the cooking dish, what we're going to do is we're just going to cut it in half, and then you're going to cut those halves in thirds, just like that. Okay? So if we can zoom up to the ceiling cam, see? Large slivers. They too, why do I keep looking up there? You can't see me. They too will get soft when they cook. And so there's our nice chunks of garlic. In they go. And we are going to also, we have a zucchini. And they're delicious. This is a small one. I consider this a small one, only because we've grown them here in the past, and they become quite huge. And if we get to grow any this summer, one of the episodes I'll do is the zucchini boat. That's freaking delicious too. So hopefully our zucchinis are going to grow, and we'll get some nice big ones, and we'll be able to have an episode together on that and how to cook it. But this is a nice store-bought, tinier zucchini, perfect for a dish like this. Just cut it right up the middle, so you get 2 halves, and do it again. So you got nice quarters of this stick, and then just chop little chunks. Nothing small, just good squares to go into the dish, because they'll toss around, they'll get soft, and zucchini is absolutely fantastic at taking on flavor. Oh, pop it in. Pop it in, pop it in. Good. So there's our bowl of stuff. Now we're not done yet. We have our garlic in there. We have all the vegetables in there. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and then I'm going to head back over to our spice cupboard, and we're going to get a bit more basil leaves. But before we do that, because we want them to stick, we're going to add a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of lime juice to really kick it up a bit. I'm not talking tons here, not mountains of olive oil, not deep frying the vegetables, just enough to give them a coating really so they don't stick. So just sort of coat your vegetables one way, and then you coat them the other way, and then maybe a good circle. And that's probably, there you go. It's probably all you're going to need. This bottle's got the little fancy little pop-up spout thingy, see? It regulates the oil. Whoopsie. It certainly is a good launcher, too. Wow. That's kind of fun. Uh-oh. Fun in the kitchen. You see what happens? All kinds of craziness, especially when your fingers are covered in oil. And some shakes of, or a little bit of lime juice. That's about it. It's strong. Now, sprinkle in a little bit of basil leaf, dried basil leaf, just a little. There, and that should do it. Then, grab yourself a spoon and mix this sucker around. Because you want to get all the oil on all the vegetables and all that salt and all that pepper mixed in there. Not much to say when you're mixing vegetables, is there? But they're well coated. All right. And then they can, we'll get our tray ready. What I use in my barbecue cupboard is I have a tray that's full of holes, but you know what? I don't use the holes. I'm going to try something that I just got for my birthday too. Not today, but on different kinds of vegetables. I got some cylinders, vegetable grilling cylinders. What I'm going to do to help us out is we're going to put some foil in this pan, create ourselves a little tray, because we don't want any of that oil to drip out and catch fire in the barbecue. Stir this around a bit more, and then pour this out into our tray, and just spread it out all nice like there. You're going to be turning this around, sort of stirring it around while it cooks anyway. So there you go. Okay. Well, it's about time to get the barbecue heated. And so we're going to go and do that. Get it turned on. Get it rolling here. Hello, chipmunk. All right, so while that barbecue comes up to temperature, we can just wait. We haven't got much to do. The vegetables are ready. We can put our oil back. Vegetables are ready. The meat's ready to go on. I'll show you when we're out there cooking, but we're not just going to lay these things flat on the grill, bone side down. There's a way that I cook ribs, and that's in a convection style. So we're going to pyramid these, and if your rack is big enough, you can roll it around in a big roll and cook it as a roll, especially two of them together. And they cook much better that way. So, we're gonna need some tongs. Let's see. And now we're gonna wait for the barbecue. Hi there. The barbecue's ready to roll, nice and hot. So we're gonna get our meat on the barbecue, but we're not gonna put the veggies on just yet. A little too soon. We're gonna get these started. So come on out, let's get them on the grill. All right, let's get this on the barbecue. So, as I said earlier, the way we're gonna cook this meat is in a pyramid fashion. We're not going to have it such that we're laying down on the grill. And we're using convection, so we're going to turn our burners down quite a bit here to medium. We're going to grab one piece of meat with the bones, the biggest part of the bones down. And same with this here, biggest part of the bones down. And we're going to cook them like this and like this. And you rest them towards one another. They will then cook like a tent. Try to tent it as best as you can. Get them to stick together. And hopefully they're not going to flop down. There we go. Now that's just going to cook very convection-like. You can see it here. You can see it here. And then we're going to put our vegetables, sort of try to fit our vegetable tray in beside it. But not just yet. We're going to let that cook for about 10 minutes first before we put the vegetables on. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. Just enough time for a drink. So, a drink in hand and vegetables in hand. It's been long enough. We can get our vegetables on to go with the meat. I better just close that door so we don't get any bugs. There we go. Okay. Meat's been cooking for approximately 10 minutes or so at 350, the magic number, 350. And all we do with these veggies is we just put them on the grill next to the ribs. Ribs are looking good, so we're just going to fit these in here. Now, we do have the burners here and here, so if there was a way, if I can just move this meat over carefully, I can fit this right beside them there, and they'll cook on the convection too. Get some sunlight shots. Oh, looking good. And then we just close the lid and we leave that now, almost forget about it, for about another 20 minutes or so. We're going to check it, keep stirring the vegetables as we go. All right, I think that's all we need. Yep, I believe so. I don't remember. Okay. Wooden spoon in hand, somebody's in trouble. The vegetables are in trouble. Let's have a look at them. Well, they're cooking nicely, but you got to stir them around. They're not probably going to stick because we got enough oil in there. But in order for the heat to get at them all, we have to stir this around. The ribs are looking absolutely fantastic. They're kind of sticking a little to this. There we go. Dish. There we are. Yeah, they're cooking beautifully. So we're just going to stir this around here. The vegetables are 20% done. Low and slow is the name of the game. Convection heat. You know, I got thinking, if you didn't have a barbecue, you could do this in an oven the same way, low and slow. No hotter than a 350 barbecue, so go down to 325 on your oven. That way, this will cook, the meat will cook convection-like, and the vegetables too, without burning them. There, I've stirred them around. We got some good heat in there. We'll close that up now for about another 15 minutes and keep checking it every 15 or so. All right, enjoy a drink while you wait. All right, it's been about 15 or 20 minutes. We're now going to just check the vegetables and make sure they haven't burnt to high heaven. Oh, it's looking good. So we're just going to stir them around. they can keep cooking a little bit longer. Nothing's getting burnt in here, just a little charred on the foil, but that's quite all right. They're still getting nice and soft. They'll be ready to come off soon. We're going to take them off sooner than the meat. The meat's looking good as well. So another 5 minutes or so, maybe 10 on the vegetables, and then we'll be bringing the meat shortly after that. It's coming along just well. I'm hungry. It's time to get the vegetables off of the queue. So we have our special handy dandy glove, thermo protection, thermonuclear proof. Not really. But these vegetables are ready. We don't need to serve them hot. They can sit and be cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to take them inside. They're looking really good. And we're going to take this whole dish inside and let that fantastic meat keep cooking. We're going to move the meat. Now that I'm thinking of it, we're going to move the meat if we can, little by little. Use this pan if we can as our help. It's like you're creeping it across. A little bit of, whoa, hoi, yoppa. Didn't need those arm hairs. That would be the fat cooking off. There we are. Oh. Let's just lean this a bit more. There. A little more. Okay. In fact, I think we can tuck one under the other sideways. There we go. There. Doesn't want to stay. Huh. There we go. We're going to let those finish while we bring in these vegetables and make sure our arm doesn't continue to stay caught on fire. Okay, the vegetables are ready to come off. So there they are, all nice and soft. Nice and soft. Let's put them into a bowl. They're going to stay still somewhat warm, but we're going to just put them into the bowl and then put some foil on top. Probably just use this sheet of foil if it's not too bad, because then they can sit while the ribs just finish. They're almost done. Another 5 or 10 minutes on the ribs. Remember, this is a set and forget meal, so you sort of just put it on and forget about it. Within reason. Don't want to burn the living daylights out of it. Okay, we're just going to let that sit in the bowl because it's going to be hot enough. And we're going to go back out and we're going to check our ribs. We've got our bread cut and ready. So that's going to go on the side with the hummus or the spinach dip, or put the vegetables right on top of the bread. Really good. So our bread's ready. Our vegetables are ready. We're now just waiting on the meat. Let's go out and check it. Don't need our glove, but we'll bring the plate because I think it's ready soon. All right, we're going to grab this meat, take it off the queue because I think it's ready now. It's been on for over an hour. Remember, you sort of forget about how long it's been on there for. But it looks fantastic. It looks totally ready. Woo! A little bit of grease. This time I got my arm out of the way. Nice and ready. We're going to carve it up on this into individual ribs back in the kitchen, and we'll be ready to serve it. So let's go back in and get it ready. All right, we're ready with this meat. We've got to just carve it up right here on the plate and let it cool a bit too. You don't want to serve this meal when it's terribly hot. And so all we're going to do is we're just going to grab each rib, find each rib, and cut along it. Oh, that's done perfectly. Nice and juicy. And there you have it. A nice rib. Nicely done inside. Nicely crispy on the outside. So we're just going to let that sit and cool before we plate all of this up. We've got some ribs. We'll just grab a pair of tongs from here. There we go. So we got some spare ribs, which are still trying to get away. Get off the plate. There we go. And to that, we serve a little bit of vegetable on the side, and then just put that there. And a couple of pieces of bread. This is going to be the adult plate, of course. And there, very basic meal. Very basic meal. Our ribs, our vegetables, and our bread. And you can add the hummus to it from the fridge or the spinach dip, whatever you wish. This particular one, we'll add whatever. We'll let whoever decide what they want on top. So, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Pretty easy, low and slow, long time cooking, low time to make it, and it's a nice light meal afterwards. Good for a summer afternoon. Like, subscribe, all that usual stuff, and send me your suggestions. See what we can cook up next time on FanCookingTastic. For more FanCookingTastic episodes, click these links that seem to be filling up my kitchen. And please like, comment, and subscribe.